Adam hung his head. It wasn't shame that had him, but his mother's shrieking which caused him to bow his head. She had yelled at him for an hour and was still going. He had screwed up. He got it. He understood that it was his foolishness as to why he was beyond late getting home. When she finally finished, Adam was sent out to chop some wood. He stood beside the house and swung the axe again and again. All the while, he felt eyes on him. Dread crept through him. He was sure it was his mother's glare. But no, on the edge of the woods, he was being watched by a large and hairy creature. Its claws dug into the bark of a tree. Its drool dripped from its mouth. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we meet a foe that many have probably faced at some point in their quests. The fearsome bugbear. Let's see if we can find out what this thing really is. Children are difficult to deal with. They often misbehave and do what they are told not to. We have Calupiliot to scare children from wandering near the rivers. And then there is the bugbear. It lurks in the forest of England. Its favorite food is humans. Sadly, there isn't a whole lot written on the bugbear. Most sources have at most a paragraph. Buggy comes from Middle English, meaning frightening. Old Welsh has brig, and Old Scots bogil, can be translated as evil spirits and goblin. The earliest descriptions are of a monstrous bear creature, but it changed over the centuries. So you can probably see how bugbear roughly means scary bear. The bugbear is said to now be a hobgoblin-like creature, about 7 feet tall with long hair, either brown or black. His long fingers with claws at the end, glowing red eyes, sit in the middle of its bear-like face. It is powerful and always weighs more than humans. The largest are said to be up to 400 pounds, 181 kilograms. This would indicate a large amount of muscle mass. Shaquille O'Neal is about 7 feet and about 325 pounds. So we are looking at a more muscular physique than Shaq. Most sources don't mention any powers, but there is one that did. It is said to spread dread. That is the first warning of its approach. This terror can reach the point of full-on paralysis by fear. Through such, it torments its prey, weakening their resolve before attacking. While it has claws, it has the dexterity to use weapons, and does to great efficiency. How much of this is its abilities, and how much is fear-mongering, I can't say. It can also move completely silently. They are said to operate in groups at times, but just as often alone. Yet there is more. It doesn't just attack at random. No, it chooses its prey carefully and with intent. It chooses to go after children who are misbehaving. It preys on those who defy expectations set by their elders. A few sources also mentioned one final thing with it, that the bugbear is empowered by belief in it. For those who place no stock in wild stories, it is harmless. No more than fog. This odd fact is extremely sparse. Most sources do not even mention it. Thus, it could mean that there was an influence from other creatures. Often, there is a reference to the boggart goblin that goes about and scares people. Conceptually, this part does tie back to the concept of fear itself. Fear only holds power over you as long as you allow it. That is a bit to start with. What do we have here? A large predatory creature covered in hair? Yes, some call it a hobgoblin, but are there other creatures that are similar? Say a Sasquatch? That is also about the same size and covered in dense hair. Could this be a relative of it? Well, the bugbear is said to have a bear-like head and hands ending in claws. We can assume that Sasquatch is a primate, like a human, and we don't have claws. Well, there are other primates with claws. Theirs are modified nails meant for grasping and pinching things. So that doesn't rule it out as a great ape-like creature. This does bring up the question, what is the distinction of goblins in general? Most ancient texts will often refer to them as fairies as often as goblins. So a possible connection. But are goblins a type of primate? Well, some of the key traits of primates are forward-facing eyes, grasping hands, and having nails. There are others, but that would require skeletal remains, such as the location of the ear bones. But the nails may be what we look at. Bugbears don't have nails, they have claws, more like a bear. So I'm going to assume that no, this isn't a type of primate. So again, we need to figure out the taxonomy. We'll need a class for fairy creatures. Similar to mammals, Fairia, and then a family, so Goblindae. Yes, the bugbear is said to be a hobgoblin and not a goblin, but the distinction between the two is hazy at best and varies between cultures. The bugbear is alluded to having two powerful abilities. It is silent and can instill fear in people. How? We can look at owls to see how it moves silently. Their feathers have serrated edges, which help to reduce the noise, and that is what we can do with its fur, but more importantly, cushioning and padding on its feet. Then it will need to be careful with where it places its feet. There is a possibility that the dread that it spreads helps suppress the sound by having the person miss it. Sadly, this seems to operate on psychic mechanics. That field is rather poorly studied. Conceptually, its dread seems to tie onto the belief of it. The dread reaching the point of paralysis is the deer in the headlights situation, where you slowly edge towards panic and lose the ability to think. This one is more questionable due to the fact that this ability is very rarely mentioned, so take it with more salt than usual. Interestingly, why does it only target misbehaving children? It is meant to scare them into doing as they are told, while the internal workings of bugbear society is very poorly documented. It seems that we have a creature of a lawful nature. Well, lawful evil, but does follow its laws and morals. Of course, this creature was meant to scare children into doing their chores, not being disrespectful brats. So it is actually a bit different than what we see in things like Dungeons and Dragons, though it is amongst the tallest of all goblins. So, how do we battle a bugbear? And let's look at the potentially strongest version here. Better to be overcautious than dead, right? There is no arguing it. It is clearly stronger than a human. So, you've got an uphill battle. It will lurk in the woods and watch you. Dread will wash over you. That is the first clue and limits its stealth abilities. But you could be so overwhelmed that you suffer from paralysis. This is just fear. Fear in and of itself cannot hurt you, but the bugbear can. You need to act. This will require willpower to overcome, but that is what adventurers do, right? Now, if you can throw off the feeling of dread, you can fight. There is a chance that the bugbear might be scared off right then, but that is a low chance. You'll probably be up for a fight. It has sharp claws, which can rend flesh, and that alone can kill, but they are often mentioned using weapons. That opens up a lot of options. So conceptually, you are fighting a human foe, which is bigger than you, stronger than you, and maybe on equal intelligence. You'll want armor. Gambeson and plate are good against the claws. Chainmail should work, but there is a chance that it can get its claws through the links with enough force. If it has a weapon, that creates issues. Again, you'll want armor. Any will be better than nothing. It has tough fur, but that won't stop your weapons. It seems that any strong weapon should work. I would choose something metal. It would be harder to break, and hopefully more damaging against this foe. Remember, this is big and very strong. I fully support overkilling here. Weapons with reach are going to be better. Halberds, spears, and great swords in particular. I like the spear here, since it can pair well with a shield, giving you protection against any weapon it wields. But going long range is better. Bows and arrows are perfect. But magic too. The fur offers some cold protection, but not for fire. If you can get its fur to burn, it will fall shortly. Try it. You might get the bugbear running away. Lightning is just as good. Yet there are a few other spells. Ones that bolster courage and mental fortitude. Those could ward off the dread and help you stand your ground if it does have the fear aura. Oh, and there is another thing here. The bugbear won't harm those who are well behaved and do as they are told usually. That means protection against the dread it can spread. The bugbear is a physically powerful foe. It is capable of tool use with some weapons and has some form of morals. This is a foe which many adventurers will cross blades with at some point, and you best be prepared. Due to its size, it is superior to humans and should be fought as such. Thus, I'm going to give it a 410 for difficulty. Best not be a bad child. If you do slay the bugbear, you could eat the meat. There is a chance that it'll taste like bear meat, which is well known for its gamey flavor and fattiness. For most people, not that tasty. The fur and hide can be tanned to produce goods. The only other thing possible is forming an alliance with it. That is questionable. They do have a sense of morality. It is questionable, but definitely there. Yet, they like to eat humans. Would you work with a creature who is likely to eat you? Well, maybe. So long as it only eats you after you die, that could work. But then wouldn't it be willing to betray you? Oh, that is definitely an option. But they only target bad children. Is that you? So would that influence the relationship? What even defines a bad child? One outburst a month? Weekly? Daily? Short of actually breaking the law? This is a foggy field to be crossing. Oh, there might be humans who work with them. This could all be a scam, couldn't it? The bugbear is villainized to make children behave. So, if you were a parent with rotten children, could you pay a bugbear to terrorize your children into behaving? Trade some goods or coin for the service? Or do the bugbears do the same thing with their children? Tell them to be good, or else a human will sneak in and gobble them up. That could make for a fun little setting, but could easily turn into an actual issue very quickly if anyone outside of this arrangement were to catch wind of it. Chances are no, you can't create a safe party with them, not without you constantly watching your back. A shadow moved, and he inched his head only a fraction, but he saw the massive figure advancing on him. As quiet as an owl, it stepped. Adam found himself trembling. He could barely turn his head. He wanted to scream. Lord, it was huge. He gritted his teeth and clenched his grip on the axe. He wanted to swing, but a sense of dread bound him. It advanced. Its large claws drew Adam's gaze. His breath ceased at the sight. You could feel its foul breath on his neck. Panic took hold, and he broke through his fear to swing the axe. The metal blade sliced into the fur. It was a flesh wound to the bugbear, but it threw Adam off balance, and he came crashing down onto the pile of chopped logs. His foe advanced, but the ruckus drew attention from the house. Adam's mother shot a blast of flames through the window, which struck the bugbear's fur. It ignited, and the beast went fleeing into the forest. Adam looked at his mother's worried face. He went limp as the tension left him. The bugbear is a strong foe, but far from the most dangerous. Still, Should you cross paths with it, be careful. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for Pona Turi. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.